Get Nick Wright. That's his Twitter account. Joining us via the Cowherd Global Satellite. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Listen, you're a friend. I'm happy for my friends. This is amazing, and you're going to win more than one. And you're a Kansas City guy, but you can also be kind of obnoxious. And so you've already got him in the Hall of Fame. Is that what I? I mean, literally, he's literally played an hour in the league, and you have Mahomes in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, Colin, listen, you're a Fox bet partner like me. I'm just curious. If they posted this bet up there, yes or no, Patrick Mahomes will end his career in the Hall of Fame, what would yes be? Minus 1,500? You're a man who likes a smart investment. What odds would you need on your money to bet no? 20 to 1? 25 to 1? Of course he's a Hall of Famer. He has the second most double-digit comebacks in playoff history already. He's won a league MVP. He's won a Super Bowl MVP. Statistically speaking, he just had the most impressive postseason run ever, the most touchdowns in any postseason ever, despite not playing the maximum games. It's hyperbole to say he's the greatest quarterback of all time. Now, he probably will become that, but it's hyperbole to say that right now. It's not hyperbole to say he has already done enough to be a Hall of Famer. That's just what the smart numbers say, my friend. And I don't think that's obnoxious. I think that's just, as you would say, stone cold facts.
All right. I like my guys to have, 40 starts. Call me zany. Let me move to this, though.
Yeah.
For 3 quarters, I thought Jimmy G was fine, and I still think he's a really good quarterback. Yesterday became kind of an embarrassing Shanahan stinks and trade Jimmy G. So who do you blame? Because I think Shanahan's the best young coach still, and I think Garoppolo's a top 12 quarterback. I'm not selling my stock. Where do you stand this morning?
All right, let's go with Garoppolo first. I think top 12's perfect because I think he's about 12th. He's fine. Jimmy G is fine, and I don't mean like Jimmy G is fine like some people would say. I mean, no, he's fine. Both might be true, I suppose. And listen, he was horrible in the first quarter. He was horrible in the fourth quarter. He was exceptional in the intervening 2 quarters. But listen, 1st and 10, ball at midfield, down 4 against a decent defense, chance to go win the Super Bowl. Ball batted down, ball nearly picked, ball overthrown to win the game, take a sack. That ain't great. But I don't blame Jimmy G because that's just who he is. He's going to once a game literally throw the ball with his eyes closed, as he did in the first quarter that led to an interception, and he's going to miss some open guys. Shanahan is the brightest offensive mind in football. I believe that. He also has his fingerprints all over 2 things. One is the 2 biggest meltdowns in Super Bowl history, and the other is around his own neck from what we saw at the end of that football game, Colin. Listen, you got a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. You're in a 2nd and 9. You don't trust your quarterback enough at the end of the first half to even attempt a 2-minute drill. You trust him to throw back-to-back passes, and now you're punting, and now it's a 3-point lead shortly thereafter. And on that drive, and much like the Atlanta game, all the mistakes could have been eliminated with the correct call on one critical play. Atlanta game, after the Julio catch, 2nd and 11, up 8, 3:56 left at the 23-yard line. If you run the ball twice and kick a field goal, you're a champion. No one says anything to you. In this game, 5:25 left, up 3, 2nd and 5. And you call back-to-back passes. And the next time you touch the ball, you're trailing. You got to be better in those spots. So both things can be true. He can be the best offensive mind in the entire NFL and a top 6 coach in the league, and also have made some horrifying decisions in the biggest spots of his career that he's going to have to live with.
Before we get to the NBA, a couple of questions. I do have one thing on Dak. I said this morning, ask yourself this. Is your quarterback preferably the best quarterback in his division, but no worse than second best? Then you should sign him to a healthy contract. With Dak Prescott, I franchise tag him for 1 year. Daniel Jones looked really interesting at the end of this year. We know that Wentz is better as a talent. If Dak struggles, and I watch those games if I'm Jerry and Stephen Jones and say, I think Daniel Jones is better, then I cannot pay Dak $35 million. My rule is, like right now, Matt Stafford, you're not Rodgers, and I don't think you're Cousins. It's time to move. Baker Mayfield, you're not Lamar. Let's wait till Ben gets back. If Ben's good and you're not good, Baker, I got to move. I think there's an argument to be made to franchise Dak for a year. Let's just see if Daniel Jones pops, because at times he looked really, really good. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I think no matter what you think of Daniel Jones, it's fair. Yeah, it's bad business to pay someone who's barely in the top 10 at what he does and might not be, like he's the best at what he does. Like FS1 and Fox can really believe in me and think I have a bright future. But if they keep offering me contract extensions and I keep saying, not unless it looks like Colin, Skip, or Joe Buck, am I signing it, then guess what? They're moving on. And they can be like, well, we're going to have a hole in the line. No, well, but at some point, that you overstate your value. And where I think Dak is making a mistake, and I want everybody to get paid.
Right.
But where I think usually the reason a team doesn't want to franchise tag a guy is because the risk that for them is if he plays great, we're going to have to pay him at the top of the market. But if Dak right now, as is being reported, is already demanding top of the market or nothing, then there's no risk for Dallas. Franchise tag him and see what the hell happens. Because paying Dak Prescott $36 million a year will be a disaster. They will be in the exact position the Rams are about to find themselves in, which is does not matter how much talent you try to surround him with, you're not going to be talented enough to overcome the massive amount you've overpaid your good but not great quarterback.
Couple NBA things. Let's start with this. Kyle Kuzma's on the market. I love LeBron, but like Brady, he likes older players. When LeBron leaves teams, obviously they're not as good, but they're often old. And they've already moved all the Lakers' young players out. Kuzma's not great, but he's athletic. He's 6'7" or 8. He can space the floor. He gives you 26 minutes. I don't need him to carry me in the playoffs. But Anthony Davis is not physically dependable. It's going to be LeBron and old guys if you get rid of Kuzma in the postseason at times. I don't like this. I'm not a fan, and I know LeBron's impatient with young players. What say you on the Kuzma rumors?
Listen, I think you got to see what the return is. But Kyle Kuzma is far from untouchable. He hasn't been great this year. He hasn't emotionally done well with the fact that all his young buddies are gone. And I understand your point that you need some youth. But if his best friend on Instagram starts saying LeBron doesn't work hard and all of a sudden he shows up looking like old school Eminem from 8 Mile days, then all of a sudden you might say the spotlight's a little too big for him. And I've watched every single game the Lakers have played this year and every single game they played last year that LeBron was active for. And Kuzma's a guy who maybe, much like we've seen with other players, that is more comfortable at this stage in his career getting his numbers on a bad team than doing the things necessary to win for a good team. And by the way, I don't begrudge him that. You say LeBron wants older players. That's true, but part of that is LeBron needs to play with guys who have already been paid because they will constantly do what he preaches. Make the right play. The next time Kuzma on a 2-on-1 break keeps the ball because he wants to get a contested layup instead of passing it to Anthony Davis for an easy layup, I'm going to rip my hair out. But it's because he's never been paid. So Kuzma needs to show a little more maturity, or if he is here past the trade deadline, and I don't think trading him would be some disaster. I think you're overstating the Anthony Davis injury bug. My guess would be he's not going to miss any postseason games. There's only one player in the league right now with a flashing red light injury concern, and that's the guy who I think you've got winning finals MVP again, and it's Kawhi Leonard, and they also don't have a center, and they also don't have any depth, but because they're the Clippers with that long history of winning, we're not allowed to criticize them.
By the way, I'm overstating Kyle Kuzma, and he's got Mahomes in the Hall of Fame. He's got him in Canton. He's played 15 minutes in the NFL. Yeah, I got it. Listen, that's enough of your nonsense. Okay, I love you. You ate up time, and I can't ask you my Zion question. 15 seconds. What did you make of Zion last night?
I'll be quick.
15 seconds, Zion last night.
Listen, you're up against the best defense in basketball on a team that's perfectly built to stop you because they have nothing but super long arms and freak shows. Like, he was 40 of 60 at the rim going into the game, 67%. He was 5 of 15 at the rim last night, 33%. You wanted me to get ahead of myself? Zion is already one of the 30 best players in the league, and he will win an MVP or two down the road. That's a tough matchup for him. It's a tough matchup, by the way, for everyone that's played the Bucks this year. Nobody should overreact.
By the way, he's back in my good graces. He's got Zion as a top 30 player in the NBA. I don't think he's wrong on that.
That's why you guys are friends.
And he's not in shape.
Do you have Mahomes as a top 30 quarterback yet? I don't know. I haven't been able to watch this week.
In big games, sometimes he struggles. All right. At Get Nick Wright's his Twitter account. He's my buddy. First things first. Thanks, man. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.